Welcome to our integral sustainable farm, where we have agricultural production hand in hand with the environment. We are located in Canton de Dota, in the province of San Jose, Costa Rica. First, let's explain the reason for the name of the farm. What is the integral and sustainable part of the name? Integral refers to how we join processes from the production of inputs until we get the fruit at the end. What we do is to produce 50% of the raw materials with bio inputs, bioferments, boils and organic fertilizers for the production of the crops we have. The sustainable part is how we have managed to reduce the use of agrochemicals in production. Our farm has avocado, peach, plum and annona production. We have a livestock area for the production of cattle for fattening, where we get raw material to make fertilizers. Likewise, we have an area of trout where it is also used for the production of fertilizers, the sludge that this generates. We have a forest area for the protection of the water that comes from the same farm and to promote biodiversity, which also helps us at the time of production. We are going to take a short tour of the productive areas of the farm and the livestock part so that you can see how we achieve this balance. The approach of giving a more sustainable management of the farm was born as a result of a management with much use of agrochemicals and herbicides. After my graduation as an agronomist, I preferred to change to a more sustainable model where more biological inputs will be used. We will stop using so many agrochemicals to give a better quality of life to the people who help us work on the farm. Likewise, by sending products to the market free of agrochemicals and healthier for the people who consume them. We have a lot on the farm that is already in transition to organic agriculture. An avocado lot in association with annona. We are going to start with the cultivation of annona, also known in South America as chirimoya. In Costa Rica, it is known only as annona. This part of the farm is very special for us, because there are some of the 70 trees that grow wild. From them, we have chosen the best genetic material to establish the plantation of 1,500 plants that we have at the moment. In their natural form, they grow like a circus tent, so we are going to go inside so you can see them. As you can see, this tree is very leafy inside. It has a great load of fruit. Just because it is wild does not mean that it will not produce. In the same way, fungicide and insecticide applications are made at the right time, also with biological control and bio inputs. Some generalities with the cultivation of annona are, to produce it in Costa Rica should be from 2,400 meters above sea level to 2,300 meters. The main producing area is the Zona de los Santos, where we are located in Costa de Dota, where excellent quality fruit is produced. The ideal soil for annona is loam soil, with an optimum pH between 6 and 7. It is necessary to be careful during the winter. It is a stage to make fumigations to control fungi that affect it and the attack of some insects. Annona likes a soil with good organic matter and well drained. As Costa Rica is such a rainy country most of the year, for example, here we are in Copi de Dota, it rains 6 months a lot, and there are 6 months of very intense drought. The Annona is very noble with that. It does not suffer so much from these temperature changes. When it comes to nutrients, you have to be very careful to give it the optimum amount of phosphorus and potassium, mainly, with neglecting nitrogen and calcium. Now we are going to make a short visit to the new plantations established on our farms. This part is very beautiful because it is adjacent to the forest that we have on the farm, so there is a lot of biodiversity there. It is also in the highest part of the farm. A very beautiful creek runs through it, and animals can be seen from time to time. There is a story that says that in the mountain at some point a volcanic vein passed, being very close to where the Annona Chirimoya plantation is already established with its graphs and its information, its planting distances. We will no longer see the wild that we saw previously with large trees, but we will see something a little more elaborate. A more established plantation with planting perimeters and with varieties of the farm. For example, here we can see the formation of an Annona tree. You can see the skeleton that should be in 4 axes, ideally oriented in each of the 4 cardinal points. More than anything in this system, what we are generating is a crown that will take maximum advantage of the availability of sunlight, and the formation of branches will be focused on that. On a structure that is as efficient as possible with regards to nutrients, sunlight, and the eventual production of fruit. Around this tree there are a lot of weeds. We are in the last months of winter, which is going to be used when the summer comes to use it as a cover for this tree. We are going to mulch, put all this material at the root, use it as mulch and manually irrigate it to sustain the amount of humidity that there is. So the water we're going to put on it, it will not evaporate so quickly. After seeing how we handle the Annona and the beautiful environment we are surrounded by, we are going to visit the plum. This is the plum crop. We have 2 varieties, purple and satsuma on the right side. They are planted like this. In the process, they self-pollinate. Plums generally require conditions in Costa Rica of 1,500 to 2,300 meters above sea level. an average temperature of 12 to 22 degrees Celsius, an average annual rainfall of 1,400 cubic centimeters. Here in Copa, we are located with 3,650 cubic centimeters of rain, above the plum requirements. That is why we have to be very careful during the rainy season, controlling mainly fungi and diseases, especially Manila, which affects quite a lot. We also have problems with certain pests and insects, so we must also apply insecticides. Plums require soils with a good amount of organic matter, well drained, ideally loam soils with a pH between 5 and 7. This crop has a particularity that requires a certain amount of hours of cold since it comes from a temperature region. So those hours of cold are not met here where we are. What we have to do is a synthetic induction of those hours of cold with a product that gives us that function. The cycle of preparation from flowering to harvest is 6 months. Therefore, we can have 2 productions per year in these saplings. The production we get from here goes to national markets, mainly sold in supermarkets, farmers' fairs, and some restaurants.
A continuación vamos a hablar un poco del cultivo del aguacate.
Next, we are going to talk a little about avocado cultivation, which is the main economic activity of the farm, and we are making a nice mix between the use of inputs, reducing the use of chemicals. We also have the area of organic production, so we are trying to migrate from sustainable to organic production as well. We arrived at the Hass avocado plantation, which is located between 1,800 and 2,100 meters above sea level. The avocado likes a well-drained soil with loam characteristics and a lot of organic matter. It is very demanding in terms of potassium, phosphorus, and other types of elements such as calcium that help us after flowering to sustain the fruits. In general terms, the diseases that most affect us here are anthracoscosis, scab, certain mites, such as the red spider mite and the crystalline mite. We are giving them preventive management, which is the most indicated. We are using a mix of biological products such as bio-inputs, bioferments, biols, instead of the application of some type of chemical products. After seeing this part, in which we are giving a 50-50 management, we are going to see what is the organic management in the production of avocado Hass. We are again in the lower part of the farm, located in the organic avocado cutting. The management is 100% with bio-inputs, biological control, and we use a plastic cover for weed control. What this plastic does, that it does not allow light to pass through. It is grey on one side and black on the other. which prevents weeds from growing there and creates a favorable environment for the avocado roots. We have 2 blooms per year. These go from flowering to harvest between 9 and 10 months, depending on the altitude we are at. Then we will go to the collection center to see how the inputs that are there are produced and how we pack the fruit. We are in the farm's warehouse, where the fruit is selected, and we have an area for the production of bioinputs that are made from mountain microorganisms. In these, we start with a solid base where they reproduce. Then we make a liquid base, and to do that, we can add nutrients like the ones on my back, sulfate base. This can be used for avocado nutrition, both in conventional and organic production. Similarly, we have all the repellents that help us with the insects and other substances such as sulfur calcica broth that help us as an acaricide, fungicide, among others. We are going to see below what is the production of organic fertilizers. We are located in the area where we make vermicompost. Here what we do is feed the worms, particularly the Californian red worm with cattle excrement. What we do, for example, is to make stages of manure. We place a block that is first left to mature, as seen in this sector. It is left between 22 days and a month so that it loses acids. Then it is placed in phases. We place a first stage of manure. The worm moves forward, decomposting it, and in the second stage, it migrates from the area of less food to the area of more food, so to speak. The area that the worm leaves behind is compost ready to be used in the plantations. Next, we are going to see the cattle and then the trout.
Y la parte de trucha posteriormente.
Here where we are located is the area where we get the material to make the organic fertilizers. These animals that are behind me are the ones that generate the manure to make the fertilizer. As you can see, the structure has a plastic roof to take advantage of the sunlight, and that when it is hot, the material does not become liquid very quickly, so that they can be there for a longer time and without this product being cleaned. We have different types of fodder that they consume: king grass, Cameroon grass, mulberry and buttercup fodder, which are the ones we mainly use. Likewise, we also use the grass soil that we can take from that fruit plantations or other green areas, and we make a mix with all the short grasses and forages that provide us with proteins. Next, we are going to see what the trout production part is. We are located in one of the farm's trout production lakes. As you can see, the lake is without water. What we do is that after each trout production, the lake dries out and all the material that you see here, which is very rich in nutrients, is removed. The fish excrement and everything that already comes down the creek, we use it to make bokashi. All of this fertilizer is used in the farm's plantations, and we enrich it with the microorganisms. Here we are located in the area of trout production to share a little of the generalities of this crop and how we work with it here in Costa Rica. What we do is that we go and buy from Incopesca, the Costa Rican Institute of Fisheries and Aquaculture, and we start the growth phase in a lake like this, which is not commercial. When they are already 3 per kilo, they go to this lake. We have it for recreational fishing. People come on weekends, fish the trout, and if they want, they can eat them in a restaurant that we have here. What is done is that they are taken out and filtered to have in the same restaurant, and thus continue the cycle. For all this integrated management and for making good use of natural resources, we received the Ecological Blue Flag awarded by the Costa Rican government for sustainable and responsible management of natural resources, which fills us with pride. This year we received the 4-star flag, which is a recognition of the effort we've been making for years. Very good. Very enjoyable. As you can see, we also receive visitors on weekends. Those who come to fish and make use of the restaurant area. I'm going to try to catch a trout and see how it goes. It fills me with joy and satisfaction to see that some things that were planned at some point are now a reality. But we still have a lot of work ahead of us. We must continue working along the lines we have, improving certain processes to achieve the success we want in the future. Well, this is the end of my tour of the farm. I hope you liked it. At the moment, I'm going to have lunch and eat this trout that I have just caught.